Hey everybody. It's been a while since I've done a new video, and I apologize for that, but I've just kind of been going through my own set of personal challenges lately. But I wanted to capture something while it was fresh that I thought might serve you all. I am consciously trying to adjust some of my own values to be a more compassionate person, to be a more giving person. And I want to have a focus in my life where I am more trying to be of service as opposed to being self centered. And so part of that path is I'm trying to expose myself to new role models and individuals who can help me shape those values. And so I just watched the movie Schindler's List, which I'm sure many of you have seen. I had seen it a couple times, but really as a teen, as a kid, I don't think I was able to really appreciate it. And so I watched the film. I won't spoil anything. I'm sure most of you have seen it, but the basic premise here is that the main gentleman, Oscar Schindler, he starts with this goal of essentially profiting off of the war. He mainly just wants to take advantage of Jewish labor, which is incredibly cheap for him, and to take advantage of the demand that the war is creating. And somewhere along in the film, the travesties of the war and how the Jews are being treated just really strikes him. And in the first half of the film, he's accumulating a ton of wealth. And then in the second half of the film, he's doing whatever he can to get rid of that wealth in order to save Jewish people from being sent off to Auschwitz or the prison camps or being killed. And so he's able to use his factory as a shelter for the Jews by claiming them as essential workers. He's able to bring them away from the Nazis and keep them in safekeeping. And so he's giving away pretty much his entire fortune, right? He gave away pretty much everything that he had and was essentially completely broke by the end of the war. And the last scene really got to me because in the last scene, the war is over and he had saved 1,100 workers, and they're all surrounding him and they're all grateful for the contributions that he's had. And the thought that he starts to obsess over is, have I done enough? Did I do enough? And so he starts contemplating how he could have done more, how he could have sold his car, he could have sold his piece of jewelry, he could have done more, right? And so he becomes completely wrapped up in this thought of, could I have done more? Could I have done more? And he gets in tears, and it brought tears to my eyes because in my own career, right, me doing what I do with you guys, my pretty much ever since I got out of college, I've always wanted to do something to try to help make the world a better place. My first avenue was trying to help the world through politics, political activism. And it's interesting because I was involved with a nonprofit and we did amazing things. We helped impact tens of thousands of individuals, right? We brought them to new ideas. Because of a lot of the work that my team and I were able to do, we literally helped change laws throughout the country. We had a role to play in different elections and different things that took place over the years. And I got out of politics full time in 2016 because I just did not like the way that the political landscape was shifting, and it just became very difficult for me to see how I could positively make a difference in the world after 2016. Things just changed. And then obviously that's when I went full time helping people with their mental health. And what I've realized is that when I'm at my lowest points, it's when I'm caught up in that question of, am I doing enough? Because there are causes that matter to me, right? The mental health cause matters to me. Another cause that matters to me is the North Korean humanitarian crisis issue. And so this movie of Schindler's List was particularly jarring for me because there are literally people in prison camps in North Korea very akin to what was going on in wartime Nazi Germany. And so I know that is there's organizations that are doing work to bring prisoners of North Korea and to help them get safe resettlement. And so, I get caught up in these thoughts of, am I doing enough? Could I do more? What can I do to either get these life-changing mental health tools in people's hands? And it becomes daunting when I think about trying to change the dynamic in the mental health industry. And anyway, the moral of the story that I really wanted to share with you, the reason I wanted to share this line of thinking with you, is because I know that for many of you, maybe most of you, if you're dealing with anxiety or depression, a big reason why that would be is because you're comparing yourself to a mental ideal of who you think you have to be. And it's not the same for all of us, right? I've learned over the years that some people get caught up in the idea of trying to be perfect. Some people get caught up in the idea of trying to be successful. Some people get caught up in trying to be the perfect husband or wife or daughter or mother or whatever it is, right? But we'll compare ourselves to those ideals, and the disparity between who we are and the ideals that we create for ourselves creates anxiety, creates depression. The wider of a gap there is between how we're showing up in our life and then those ideals will impact the amount of emotional pain that we have. So that's why creating ideals is one of the fastest ways to create emotional pain. And anyway, what struck me in this last scene is I'm seeing, Oscar Schindler here, and his main Jewish accountant, the guy who kind of helped him do all of this. He said this phrase to him, and he said they gift him this ring, and inscribed in it is a Jewish parable, essentially, or a proverb, I should say. And the proverb essentially says, to save one person is to save all of humanity. And it just kind of hit me that going into that headspace of, have I given enough? Have I done enough? I don't know what your particular version of enough is, but going into that headspace of, have I done enough, never helps anybody. It just doesn't help us. It doesn't help the people we're trying to serve, because when we compare ourselves to that ideal that we think we're supposed to be meeting, we then feel small. And when we feel small and inferior, we then take less action to actually help the people we care about helping. And so I was watching him, get teared up and all of that on the screen. And what I just wanted to shout to him is, like, nobody can do everything. Going into our headspace and thinking, did I do enough, just creates this artificial mental construct. Like, what does enough even mean, right? It's just this moving target that we compare ourselves to make ourselves feel bad. And so the main thing that we need to do instead is just ask, what can I give? What can I do? And anyway, that's something I want to be carrying forward into the next chapter of my life, is rather than getting caught up in ideals of what I think I have to give, but just instead coming from a place of wanting to give moment by moment. That's kind of what inspired me to just record this, is I just want to try to give whatever I can, when the moment strikes. And I very much encourage you to consider doing the same. It may not be that your number one value is contribution. Maybe for you it's growth, maybe it's love, maybe it's connection, maybe it's I don't know, right? Maybe it is being a great parent or a great spouse or what have you. But I very much encourage you, instead of comparing yourself to a mental ideal of how you think it's supposed to be, or what you think that ultimate vision is of how it's supposed to be, instead, if you can just simply do your best moment by moment, right? If you can love as much as you possibly can in that moment, if you can give as much as you can in that moment, if you can grow to your best ability in that moment, then I am realizing that that is the surest pathway to always feeling like it is enough, right? When we get it in our head and measure whether what we've done is enough, we always feel empty. But when we stop the measuring and we just get back into the mode of giving, we always feel like our cup is full and that it's overflowing and that we can fill other people's cups up too. So easier said than done, I know, right? But to change and lower your expectations and no longer slip into the ideal, I think, is the powerful thing. And I think that that is the surefire path to sustainably good mental health. So anyway, I hope that that resonates with you. As always, I wish you the absolute best. I want you to learn the tools you need so you can have the mental health you deserve. And I hope that I can play a role in facilitating that for you. So until next time, I'll see you. Take care. Thanks for listening.